Hello, and welcome to another episode of We Love Horror, the podcast where two best friends spin a wheel once a week. They choose the horror film, and they discuss it. Today we're talking about 1988's Poltergeist 3, which was directed by Gary Sherman. I'm your co-host, Alec.
And I'm Erik, and with us again is our out of context, out of order viewer, Michael Valente. Michael, welcome back to the show.
Oh, thank you for that intro. It's good to be back.
Yeah, last time you were here, Mike, you were doing Phantasm 4 and 5 with us, which you had never seen part 1, 2, or 3, so you were coming in mid-series. This time, you had said you had never seen Poltergeist 2, and you weren't sure if you had seen the first Poltergeist. Is that right?
No, I saw the first one, but that was back in high school.
Okay, so we're going on 20 years since the last time you've seen the first Poltergeist movie. Okay, good. So now Mike is joining us. He did not see part 2, and he's here for the conclusion of the original Poltergeist series. And this movie's a fucking piece of trash. But there's a reason for that. We'll get into the reason this movie sucked. But Erik, how are we feeling since the last Poltergeist movie?
I mean, I feel like we should start with Mike's thoughts on this. Just to give it, I mean, you just gave your thoughts, which was a rave review.
Well, how do you feel since, not even about like this one, but like, since the second one, we haven't talked about Poltergeist in a while.
Well, clearly Poltergeist is the only good one. The second one was a pivot. It was a pivot from the first one, and this movie, it's a fever dream. This is the film you wake up to at 3 a.m. while watching like AMC or Fright Fest or something on in the background. You're just like, oh, I gotta go to real bed. But it's Poltergeist in the city. It's like, Ghost in the City doesn't really work. I'm sorry, Ghost, like, I don't know. In Chicago, it's like, it doesn't feel right. But like it feels like this is an elevator movie too, like Tower of Terror in a lot of ways. A lot of elevators in this movie.
Yeah, I know we love In the City. We do love those kind of movies, though, Erik. We love it when a sequel takes it. They're like, we've given up. We're going to the city.
Like Jurassic Park, like what can we do to make Jurassic Park better? It's like just bring the dinosaurs into the city. Boom.
Yeah, Gremlins
in the city. Boom.
Muppets.
I'm waiting for Avatar in the city when Avatar comes to the city.
We'll get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Mike, first impressions, just out of context. First time seeing this, how do you feel?
I didn't hate it. I mean, I love watching older movies like this. I love like the 80s wardrobes, the shoulder pads, the hair. I love it.
The hair, Mike, the hair is like, how is this a thing? Like 80s hair is one thing, but like early to like, I mean, this is like what, late 80s?
88, yeah.
I mean, 80s to early 90s hair is just out of control.
It's the peak of fashion, the pinnacle. But I thought I guess the mom and dad in this, it was kind of like they were always cheek to cheek, like the whole movie.
And that's Carol Ann's aunt and uncle, right, Alec?
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was definitely interesting. I wasn't sure what was happening.
You know what, Mike? Alec, can I stop him there?
Yeah.
Mike? Mm-hmm. It's okay. I had no idea what was going on either. No idea. So you're not alone. Okay? You're not alone.
No.
Well, Mike, basically what happened is in the first movie, Carol Ann gets sucked into the TV. She's with her family in California. We find out that they built their house on top of a burial ground, but they just didn't move the bodies. They only moved the headstones. So in the second one, they find out that they're following the family, not now because their house was there. There's a cult following them now. This guy named Kane is the leader of the cult, who's that old man who's following her.
He's an old reverend from that area, right?
Yeah, from like the 1800s, and they're a cult or whatever. And they're attracted to Carol Ann, basically. So the second one has most of the same cast. The father's Craig T. Nelson. Everybody's pretty much the same for the most part. This one, what we're supposed to believe is they shipped Carol Ann from California to Chicago to stay with her aunt and uncle and attend this special school because, like, I don't know, like, because they defeated the monster or the ghosts or whatever in the second one. So we're like, Kane's defeated, everything's supposed to be defeated. So why did they send her to this school away from her family? So that's where we're picking up. Now she's with her step cousin and her aunt and uncle in Chicago.
And the aunt and uncle don't know about what's happened. It just sounds like he had a bad real estate thing that went through. That's all they know.
Yeah, so Pat is Carol Ann's real aunt.
Yeah, yeah.
She marries whatever his name is, Mustache.
Tom Skerritt.
Viper from Top Gun. Call him his proper
Yep,
name.
yep.
Alien. He's an alien. Hey.
Well, we love Tom Skerritt. Sorry. Inside joke, Mike.
Oh, sorry. I wish I was on the inside. So he's like the step uncle, and he loves Carol Ann, but her real aunt doesn't until the very end.
Yeah, yeah. The aunt, like, especially like towards the end when all the shit's really going down, she's like, I just want this little girl gone. Like, I hate this shit. Like, my family's safe. I don't fucking care about her. I was like, damn, you're mean.
And like she's the stay-at-home mom kind of, right? Like she's not like
She's an artist, isn't she? Isn't that her art show?
Or yeah, the gallery downstairs. I don't know. She almost like divorced him and then ran away down the hall, and then he caught up to her or something too, right? She's like, I'm just out.
and Tom Skerritt, the uncle, is the manager of this building. And I don't know about you guys. Like this is to me, like I could never work somewhere where I just like leave work and go up like 6 floors and that's my life. Like I need like greenery. I need like raccoons running around. Like I couldn't do that.
I actually have experience with this. So I used to be concierge in a high-rise building in New York City.
That's right.
And the building managers all lived in the building. Like the guys who did the elevator inspections, who made sure that everything was running. They literally did live in the building and they usually got a pretty nice deal and they got a good apartment. So, yeah, I mean, think about it though, dude. You live in the place where you work. I think your rent is free in some instances.
That's huge. That's huge. Yeah.
But yeah, so this job really is real. There really are people, the building managers live in the building typically. But yeah, I forgot about this movie. I don't know if I've ever seen it, honestly. I can't remember it at all.
Can I give my like personal experience? I mentioned a fever dream. I've seen this movie, but I think I came home from trick or treating or some kind of Halloween event when I was like 6 or 7 or 8, and either my dad or my grandpa was watching this at home, and I couldn't even tell you, but I remember watching a good chunk of this movie, and the only thing I remembered was the elevators. Like I just remembered like, oh, Poltergeist 3, that's the one with the elevators where they're like falling in the elevator. Like that's like the only like thing I remember from it, and it's just so weird that that was what it was.
It's a big part of it.
So it was kind of cool to watch it again. I haven't seen this, and it has to be close to 25 years, and I never watched the full thing.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty disjointed.
It's hard to keep a 7-year-old's attention span to watch this movie too. So sorry, just going there.
Yeah, and it's pretty boring, I feel like. I don't know. Like it basically just starts off with, yeah, the ghosts have come back and it basically possesses like the building. So there's like a goop or something that's in the basement that's frozen. It's cracking all the mirrors and just like it's freezing in the building. And yeah, we just Carol Ann, her aunt and uncle, and then her stepsister or step cousin, Lara Flynn Boyle, who's from Wayne's World. You guys remember her? She's the psycho hose beast.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Alec, Wayne's World,
And Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks.
She's my girl, Donna.
I was gonna say that's your gal, man. You're a Twin Peak boy over here.
I just want to say one really quick thing about her. I looked her up. Apparently, she was dating David Spade in the late 90s, and then Jack Nicholson just walked up to them and asked her out, and then they started dating.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
So she just like said like I'm like when Andy throws Woody away in Toy Story, like I don't want to play with you anymore. And that was David Spade.
pretty much. And here's the best part. She didn't just walk away with him. She's like, oh, okay, I'll call you or whatever. And then David Spade found out that they were dating because they got in a car crash together and there was in the tabloids. Like the paparazzi was like, Jack Nicholson and new girlfriend? Like Laura Flynn Boyle. And they're taking pictures and David Spade saw it. He was like, what the fuck?
Not to get into David Spade, but he's probably the most numb celebrity I could think of. Just like with death and with like shit like that. Like he's just so numb.
I'm sorry. I got so excited. This connects to something else that's crazy, which I think is going to blow both your minds. You ready for this? You ready for this? Okay. Speaking of David Spade, actually, I just gave it away. Guess who was found dead in this same building, the John Hancock building?
Farley, I'm sure would be the
No.
one, right? Farley.
Chris Farley. Yeah.
In
So
Chicago?
in Chicago, this building. So in 1998, his body, this is where he was found dead. Yeah.
Dude, that's so sad. Like the Poltergeist movies are already sad enough. Like watching the whole movie, knowing that Carol Ann has died filming this movie in real life.
She died after filming, technically, right, Alec?
No, because they were filming the final scene.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you might be right, Mike. But yeah, Heather O'Rourke, I mean, we won't dwell on it too much, but she had Crohn's disease, and her cause of death was to be ruled a congenital stenosis of the intestine complicated by septic shock.
Okay. I know the full story, Eric.
It's I've read it too, but like it's just like
No, because the Crohn's thing was a misdiagnosis.
Yeah.
I heard she drank well water and it started there and it went on from there. I don't know. Alec, if you want to go.
She was born with a defect in her colon. So they didn't know that. It was misdiagnosed as Crohn's. So they were giving her medicine that was apparently making it worse.
Cortisone shots and stuff, right?
I'm not sure what medicine they were giving her, but they weren't even supposed to be giving her medicine. They were supposed to do surgery to fix the abnormality in her colon, and they didn't. And it went misdiagnosed her whole life basically. And then she went into septic shock eventually, and she died of she had two heart attacks like within a week, and she died before this movie came out. So they did finish filming it with her. Then she died, and then they went back and did reshoots for a few scenes, and the final scene is a reshoot, and you can tell because her head is like buried in the aunt's like shoulder because it's not her. But the director was like, "Listen, we should just scrap this movie."
Well, they didn't they want to change the ending after she passed away? Wasn't that the reason why they did filming changes? Because
They literally did, and I watched the original ending, and I think the original ending's better. I don't know why they did this ending, but yeah. So they went back, did a reshoot. The director said, "Listen, I think it's in poor taste if we do this. I think we should just throw this movie away. Like, it's not good. It's
yeah,
going to be tough to watch a little girl who's dead now."
12. She died when she was 12, and
Yeah,
she's a known person, a household name, pretty much. And yeah, no, it's just really sad. And like, how do you market a movie proudly when that happened? It's like there's no way to market it. You just gotta like. And I read that like they told Scarrett and everyone else in the cast like no interviews. You cannot do interviews because all the interviewers are gonna ask you about is Heather, and it's sad, man. It's crazy.
yeah.
Alec, what was the original ending?
So it's pretty similar. Like, the aunt is on the scaffold and the fake Carol Ann comes out and she's just like, "You don't love me, blah, blah, blah." So then the mom crawls in and then Tangina comes out of the ground and she's like, "Don't worry, I can defeat him." And it like melts his face and it looks like a way worse version of the end of Indiana Jones Part 3, where like, his Kane's face starts to melt like apart or whatever. And then they all just teleport outside, but Tangina and Kane walk away together. But then Heather O'Rourke is in. This is what I don't understand. Heather O'Rourke and everybody else gets transported back to the bedroom. And also the boyfriend is there, who he's not in this ending that we saw. So I really don't understand why they did that reshoot. It like doesn't make sense.
I'm sure there's other things they wanted to do that didn't happen because of the issues that were going on during filming and shortly after. But it sounds like, if I had to guess, they wanted Tangina to sacrifice herself for Carol Ann.
She does in both versions. It's on YouTube.
I know, but like that's the idea of the ending, but like it's just like so poorly done, you know?
Yeah, watch it. It's on YouTube. You guys can watch it yourselves because, like, you're gonna be like, this makes no sense that they use the theatrical ending. Because in the theatrical ending, Tangina just walks into the mirror and she's like, "Don't worry, I can do it too. Just follow me." And Kane's like, "Okay," and then they just walk away together and it's over.
Fun fact, not to get out of the serious conversation, but do you know what Tangina Zelda's she's a voice actress too, and Alec, you're a voice actor. Do you know what she's known for? Voice acting?
Oh God, what? What?
Skittles Taste the Rainbow. That's her voice, the original.
Oh, okay.
Taste the rainbow.
Well, while we're talking about Zelda Rubinstein, she was nominated for a Razzie for this film and also for Poltergeist Part 2. So I don't know if she won.
Hopefully she didn't. I thought she was great. Like, how do you? There's no better actor for this movie than her. Period.
She did fine, but the writing for her character in this movie was awful.
Walk into a puddle and like it's just like, what are we doing here, guys? Like, let's get back to Heather, and we don't have to dwell on it. But I want to say, like, I think she has one of the greatest lines in cinema, definitely horror history for a child. The "They're here" from the first Poltergeist is iconic. And I just want to say, like, although she passed away at 12, she leaves behind that legacy that some lifetimes can only dream of. So that's kind of cool. That
Yeah.
was my take of watching her, and she was nominated for like best child something and won some award I read somewhere. So yeah, it's really sad.
It's interesting. In 1982, it was basically going to be, okay, Drew Barrymore is going to be an ET or this, or Heather O'Rourke is going to be an ET or this.
She would have been like Drew Barrymore, no doubt.
They were both the runner-ups for the other film, so it's like, oh, okay, we'll give this girl this one and this one, but if it didn't go to that one, it would have gone. So potentially Heather O'Rourke could have been an ET, and Drew Barrymore could have been a Poltergeist. It could have been that way.
It's wild to think about. Yeah.
That would have been nuts.
But anyways, so this movie, yeah, we already kind of did the setup a little bit, but yeah, the first 40 minutes is pretty boring. I mean, the only thing that kind of sets the movie off is we see like a window washer like squeegeeing the window, and that's Kane, from the second movie, and you're like, why is he back? Okay, and he's like, Caroline, and you're just like, fuck, okay, what is happening? And then it just basically is like we just get the setup of the characters. They do a little bit of exposition of like, she's your stepmom, you gotta respect her, like, that kind of shit. And then we find out that the dad works in the building. The mom is, I guess, something to do with a gallery. She's either an artist or running the art gallery or something like that. And then the other two girls are going to school with the most annoying neighbors who are horrible actors. Dude, those neighbors, that little girl.
Where do they find those good people? I don't know.
Oh my God. Just like, I don't know. Like literally some of the worst acting I've ever seen and some of the most annoying kid acting I've ever seen in my life is that little girl. Jesus Christ. Mike, come on. What'd you think of them?
Oh yeah, that girl that was just like a total brat the whole time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she was only in like a couple scenes, but
Thank God.
yeah, she was pretty annoying. And okay, I didn't actually think about it until you mentioned it. The fact that Scott just doesn't come back. It's like,
Right?
Right. He's just gone.
yeah, they're like, nobody cares. They just walk away.
In the original ending, he is there. He's holding Lara Flynn Boyle, and they're just like, it's okay. Everyone's there. And then this one, they're just like, Scott's dead. I don't fuck it. Who cares? Like, were you really dating him? It's like, nah, nah, nah. I mean, there's going to be an investigation now. Like, the police are going to come. Like, they're like, where is Scott? Why is there a dead guy in the elevator? Like, what happened here? But that's the thing. Okay, so Carol Ann is going to this school, and it's like, I guess like the X-Men school. Yeah.
It's like X-Men. It's X-Men. It's like school for gifted children that kind of also need therapy.
But Eric, here's the thing I don't understand. She is basically exhibiting incredible powers, and this guy's like, they're not powers, they're maths hypnosis.
He thinks it's like she is somehow a young hypnotist and that is very good at it.
He's an idiot, dude. The second that they whip that coffee mug across the room and it smashes the mirror, like, stop. That's not mass hypnosis. Like, what are we doing?
I did kind of like that scene where it was like a two-way mirror or whatever, and they're like, she's looking at us, like she sees us. This movie has a lot of good cinematic things. It really does, but altogether, it's not great. But the cinematography is cool. There's a lot of cool shit that's practical effects. Really cool.
No, I'd agree with Eric there. That scene in the freezer with the water rising, but it's coming from the wall. That was actually pretty cool.
Oh, you guys are gonna love this. So, Mike, in the second one, their budget was a lot bigger, and it was a lot of special effects. This one had zero non-practical effects. Everything is 100% practical in this movie.
That's kind of cool. Can I go into the stats real quick while we're at it?
Yeah.
So this movie came out June 10th, 1988. It's an hour and 38 minutes, nice and short. Its budget was 9.5 million. It made 14 million, so it made money. Rotten Tomato critics give it a 15%, and Rotten audiences give it a 22%. Not very loved, but the fact that this movie even made money is still like impressive.
Yeah.
You guys have to watch Robert Ebert.
Oh, I heard two thumbs down city.
Their interview is like, this movie is absolutely atrocious, but here's the thing. If you're a fan of this series, you clearly aren't thinking clearly. It's just like they were going at people that enjoyed any of these movies. Yeah, it's kind of sad because like they don't take into consideration like what happened behind the scenes. Like this girl was sick and dying and like, I don't know. But yeah, the reviews are terrible. Erik, I mean, I don't think $5 million is really profit considering like
I don't think they marketed it though. I don't think they marketed it at all because when Heather O'Rourke passed away, they were like, let's not like even market it. Like, let's just say we're releasing Poltergeist 3. So I think technically this movie made money. I hope that went to Heather O'Rourke's family and stuff. Yeah, it's crazy.
I know he's not a very well-liked character, but the therapist had probably my two favorite lines in the whole movie.
what are they?
Say them.
So I loved when he's like leaving his wife and then he just like turns back. He's like, put that dinner on a low flame. And don't forget the cilantro.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's just like, he's like a dick to his wife too, which is great.
What's the second one?
Tangina's like talking about stuff and she's just kind of going on this weird little rant and he's like, well, that's a bunch of crap that doesn't mean anything. Because I was kind of thinking the same thing at that point. Like, okay, so he's just kind of like, if this was like really happening, I feel like he says all the things that anyone else would say to rationalize what's happening.
Yeah. Insane. And like his logic is so crazy. He goes so far to be like, this is all a trick. It's like, no, it's not, man.
That she's a master of hypnosis. But you know what was great too? You said, Alec, that this movie starts out very boring. Then Gina shows up at exactly like 36, 37 minutes into the movie when like Carol Ann is like he's like break the mirror or whatever. What was she saying to her? Like just break the mirror or something.
Yeah.
Like it was just like what the hell? She's here? I had no idea. Like there was no introduction about what her like you think you'd see like something like her walking into a building like but it was just like a cut to her being like break the mirror. Like what?
She's like sitting having an iced tea with some lady and all of a sudden she's like, oh no.
And she's having like heartburn and she's like holding her heart and she's like, oh, like break the mirror.
He's like, he found her.
And then like 2 minutes later, she's on a plane and she's calling that guy Mike that you're talking about, the therapist or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's like, hi doctor, whatever. Like, you need to help Carol Ann. And she's like, is this one of her pranks?
Yeah.
And it's just like, and she's in an airplane though, which I thought was like crazy for the 80s. Like, I didn't know you could call people from an airplane in the 80s.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, the plane phone.
Yeah, but no, but she like lost contact with him in the plane. She's like, hello, can you hear me now?
It's like, I knew it was a prank. It's like, no, she lost connection. Yeah, it's like, how is an 8-year-old gonna do like just stop it? Like it's so ridiculous. Yeah, his character, I will say the funniest line though, I think in the whole movie is by that guy when Scott comes out of the pool or whatever, and he's like, what puddle, Scott? Scott, what puddle? The puddle, Scott? What puddle? The other thing is, they say the name Carol Ann like 10,000 times in this movie, dude.
It gets annoying.
Everybody's just screaming Carol Ann. When Lara Flynn Boyle comes out of the puddle, she's like, Carol Ann, Carol Ann, Carol Ann. I'm just like, shut up, stop saying the name. I'm going crazy.
Carol Ann, come out of the mirror, Carol Ann.
Oh my God.
It also makes me think of that South Park episode, the Dead Celebrities episode, when like after Michael Jackson passed and Billy Mays, and they had like the airplane tarmac,
Yeah.
and they had Tangina character come up to everyone like, it's like you're on an airplane and you're on the tarmac, but the plane's not taking off. That's what limbo's like. And like to see her on a plane was like, oh, that's probably where it like connected for them. I don't know.
It's possible. It is. Yeah, so I mean, I guess I'm trying to think of like the first scary thing that happens. They're gonna have a party that night. So Carol Ann is upstairs and the parents go down to the party downstairs, and then the teenage daughter wants to go to her teenage party, but she's like, I gotta babysit Carol Ann or whatever. And I thought Carol Ann was possessed or a fake girl because she was like, no, get out of here. Like, please leave. I want to be alone. You go have fun. I was like, this seems odd. This girl is doing this, but whatever. It has to happen for the movie. So then Carol Ann's left alone, and then shit starts happening. Like Kane starts coming back, and I mean, Mike, what did you think Kane was? Like not knowing from the other movies. Like who'd you think this guy was?
I don't know. Like he's very similar to the tall man from Phantasm.
Yeah.
You can leave it at I don't know. You can say like I don't know.
I really have no idea. Yeah, no, I don't know. I just the man in the mirror.
yeah, that's all he really is.
I felt really bad for Carol Ann though. Like literally the whole movie, everybody's talking about, oh well, she's not even really my sister. I don't know what she is. She's not even related to me.
Yeah, she's like, I'm brat sitting.
He's my step cousin. She's not even my cousin. Like,
The only guy that likes her is Tom Skerritt, but he's like kissing her on the lips, and he's like, "You're a cute little girl." Like, it's like, who are you? Who the fuck are you? Didn't you just marry my aunt? Like, don't touch me. Oh man,
Wait, what was she calling her aunt? Like Trish?
I don't understand that at all.
But she wants to be called Pat?
Yeah, Mike, I don't get that at all. Her name is Patricia. For some reason, Carol Ann's calling her Pat or whatever, and she's like, "No, she doesn't like to be called that. You know this."
No. She likes to be called Pat, but she doesn't want to be called Trish.
Carol Ann keeps calling her Aunt Trish, and then Tom Skerritt's like, call her Pat.
Yeah, what does that mean? Who cares? Like, what was that? That's not from any of the other movies. Like, these characters are new. So what, why, they didn't explain that. That was so weird.
There's a lot in this movie that was written on a Denny's napkin at like 2 a.m., man. Like a lot.
Yeah, so then basically, I mean, the building's possessed basically by Kane. Carol Ann's left alone, and Laura Flynn goes to the party. The other parents are downstairs at the party, and Carol Ann's running around the building. The teenagers are like, let's go to the pool. That scene takes like 20 minutes for them to just sneak into the pool like a Metal Gear Solid episode. They're just like, all right, sneak under the cameras and like, just fuck with the camera and shut it off, and the security guard will come out, will knock them out or whatever. It was crazy. A lot of dumb lines, and then Zelda shows up, and so does her therapist.
There's a lot of elevator things.
Well, how about when you find out that Dana is not really Dana and Scott's not really Scott, and they're just smiling and like giggling at each other and like staring into each other's eyes, and then he just rips off part of her face and they walk away.
That was insane. But yeah, the reason that they get there, we forgot this part. They get sucked into a puddle in the garage. So Carol Ann, Scott, and Lara Flynn Boyle all get sucked down there. And then they pop out one by one, except for Carol Ann. And at that point, they're possessed, but they don't act possessed in the beginning. It's pretty dumb.
Imagine pitching that scene. Like just being like, okay, so this scene is going to be you're in a parking garage and there's a puddle. Is it oil? Is it water? Is it just some leaky faucet? I don't know. And you're going to talk to this puddle and you're going to scream at it. It's this movie is insane. Like that was when I was like, I don't know. It was losing me.
Yeah, that doesn't really go anywhere because, yeah, the characters are possessed, but then they're not possessed at the end of the movie. And we never find out what happens to Scott. So pretty dumb. Yeah.
I like Scott's acting in the security office
It's so bad.
when he's telling them in the garage and he just like, kind of whispering it and then he just screams it. I'm like, okay, in the garage. All right.
Yeah, it was so bad. But about the garage scene, here's something that's kind of interesting. So, you remember the snow, like when the cars are all like driving at the parents and there's just like snow everywhere in the garage? You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking about when the cars get possessed?
Yeah, the cars are possessed and they're driving at Tom Skerritt and his wife, and they're covered in like snow or whatever. One of the cars actually did light on fire, and it caused over $200,000 worth of damage to that parking garage
No
$200,000?
because all that fake snow lit on fire. So like the entire garage like engulfed in flames, dude. So like,
Fudge.
yeah, so that was like, okay.
Oh, so they did that happen, and then it was like, that's like our budget.
I mean, they're like, fuck. I mean, I'm sure they have insurance.
Like, well, there goes that scene. Like, talk to the puddle. We had other options. Like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm sure that happened in this movie like a ton of times, and also like Heather being sick
Yeah.
throughout the movie. Like, clearly this movie was just cut together, barely cut together.
Well, another couple interesting things. So MGM was like, we want this movie to get a PG-13, and it got a PG. And they're like, you got to do something to make this PG-13. So they kill the therapist. They just like push him down the escalator or the elevator. They kill him. They added that. And then I don't know if you guys like remember at the end when Tom Skerritt and his wife are like smashing the window with the axe or whatever. He's like, "Come on, you fucking son of a bitch!"
Yeah, they just added the F word.
Yeah, they just added that, and then they're like, "All right, it's PG-13 now." But like, it just feels out of place. Like he just adds like that fuck right there. It didn't. I don't know. It felt very weird.
Well, it's so wild how like Jaws is PG. Spielberg also did Poltergeist, and is Poltergeist PG-13?
No, the first one's PG because it came out in '82. Spielberg didn't direct Poltergeist. So it was Toby Hooper directed Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Spielberg produced it.
Yeah, yeah.
But like still Poltergeist is PG today.
Yeah, because it's 82.
That's insane. So take like imagine being a parent and not knowing anything about culture and you take your kids to see Jaws in theater
Yeah.
and it's PG. Like
And that's why in 84 they made it PG-13.
I no, but like that's why we're like the generations are getting softer too. Like it's insane. Like
Yeah.
I mean that in a good way though for like people before us. Like you were raised like hard. Like
Well, let's get to the ending though, because it's fucking crazy. So Carol Ann's still sucked into the thing. The other side, Lara Flynn Boyle and Scott are possessed and walking around the building, and Zelda and the two. Oh, Zelda just dies randomly. Like the mirror just like attacks her.
like what was that about?
So dumb, no idea. That's like the worst way for her character to go.
You're talking about when Dana burst out of her dead corpse?
Yeah, I don't. Yes, exactly. You're right. Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, Laura Flynn Boyle just like engulfs out of her body and she's possessed or whatever. But Tangina actually dies there. You're like, wow, that's how her character goes. Yeah, that was a surprising, interesting thing. But
She was barely in it too.
I know. Yeah, so that sucks for her. And then the aunt just goes into the portal and says like, I love my niece, give her back to me. I love everybody. They're mine or whatever. And then Tangina just appears and she's like, yeah, Kane, like, I got you. Don't worry. And Kane is like, oh, okay. Okay. And then just walk away. And it's over. But here's the thing. It's over. And then a bolt of electricity hits the building and Kane's like, ha, 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 ha. And we're like, wait, why? Why is he back now? I don't know. The ending was insane.
Can I ask, does that necklace have a role to play in the other two movies as well? I don't remember. But she's like stroking it the whole time.
So there's a Native American shaman that they mention in this one briefly. That actor died too while they were filming, and the original actor that played Kane died after they filmed the second one. So that amulet, he has it in the second one. Yeah, so I guess she got it after he died, I guess.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But yeah, so it's kind of a mess. I understand why it's a mess. Yeah, I don't know. Eric, what do you think of the ending though?
It was messy. It's sloppy, no doubt. But
Tangina?
I mean, like that's how we do her character. Her character's been around since the first one, and I don't know. I wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan. But like, I understand. I watched this movie, and I'm like, I understand what went wrong, and it's a movie, but like, there's things that could have been a lot better.
After this one, they didn't make another one until 2015, and that was a reboot. So we definitely have to cover that one.
We will to just finish this series off, right?
I think that's it though. Like, I don't think they're gonna make any more.
I think there was a show back in the day if we want to watch the first episode, but not sure if that's true. But we don't need to.
I don't think it has anything to do with the movies. I think it's just like the Poltergeist TV show, but it's not connected at all, I think. But we'll look into it.
And the last thing I want to say is it's somehow refreshing to see a movie in the city where no one has a smartphone. That was nice.
What about the Speak and Spell?
Oh yeah. Oh, Dane Cook has a great joke about that, like AEIOU. It's like the devil. Like that should have been more prominent. Period.
I just want to know why they kept saying gorilla. They just like spell gorilla. It's like why did that keep coming up? But yeah, Mike, what do you think? Any last minute thoughts on this bad boy, Mike?
I mean, I don't even know what to say. Like, I like watching older movies like that. There's like some sense of nostalgia when something's like, actually filmed on film. The old wardrobes. This was just the weirdest, the weirdest thing.
Wait. Did you enjoy Phantasm more than this?
I mean, yes.
Wow.
Reggie, oh my gosh, hilarious.
I love Reggie.
I agree.
Reggie and Mike's weird relationship. I loved it.
If there's a timeline where we could get Reggie and Tangina together, that's what's up.
Yeah. I would want to see what that baby looks like.
I don't know about that.
All right. Well, Eric, what do you say you spin the wheel?
All right, spinning. Idle hands. I don't know what that means. Idle hands.
It's a comedy horror from the 90s. That'll be fun.
Yeah, you got Jessica Alba, Devon Sawa.
Oh yeah. And Seth Green. Yeah.
Yeah, Seth Green's in everything, I've realized. So, yeah.
Yes, I know. All right. Well, Mike, thank you very much for joining us today for Poltergeist 3.
Absolutely. It was so much fun. Totally worth the $4.29 I spent to rent it.
It was on Max. Oh, all right.
I don't have that.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody, thank you. And thanks, Mike, for paying for it. And thank you, everybody, for listening in. And we will see you next week with Idle Hands.